welcome to Spurs Vision TV. It's been a long time since I did a stream. Thank you to Brian and Ian for joining me today on the show. Of course, we've just had two preseason games, and of course, we're very excited because we have done actually astonishingly differently transfer window this season, right? Coming season. But before I continue, let me just bring in a few new guests from a few other Spurs channels. From other clubs. Right, one's Steven, Statman Stubbs, right? He's a Liverpool fan, and of course, Coach Dom, right? He's from Jom United. He's a fellow Malaysian, but he supports Manchester United. Guys, give them a big welcome. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Dom. Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. First time debut. I do that in first timers, right? Of course, today we are here to talk about our preseason games. For Spurs, we already had two games, right? For Liverpool, how many games have you played yet?
We've got our third game tomorrow evening against Leipzig. We've already played Manchester United and Crystal Palace so far in Thailand and Singapore so far.
Mm-hmm. And Dom, for you guys, you played how many games?
3 games with Liverpool in Bangkok and Melbourne victory, and we just played Crystal Palace yesterday.
Okay, that means our teams just got back from Asia then, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, we just got back from Asia, right? So for Spurs, we were in Asia. We had 2 games against the K-League selection team, and of course against Sevilla, right? At the moment now, of course, a lot of people are very excited of what's been happening in the the preseason. Do you think it's? I'll just put it out to the panel, right? I'll go one by one. What do you think about the preseason? Does it actually shows any kind of indication where our club will be at, what level we'll be at the start of the season? I'll start with Brian.
So for me, these 2 games in Korea was solely about fitness. The players spending time together and understanding what Antonio Conte and his team want. The time you start taking pre-season friendly for me is on Saturday against Rangers and the week after against Roma in Israel, because they're the 2 serious ones. They're the 2 ones build up to the season. So you're ready on September the 6th. You got to remember Lenglet and Spence weren't even on the tour, so they've got to be integrated. So they've now got the time. So for me, these first 2 games were solely for Conte to start the very relaxed training regime that he has. It's very, very relaxed, and no one throwing up or passing out at all. That's what this preseason tour was. Obviously, he'll take a lot from it himself with the players that how they trained and what display they put out. But I think the real seriousness starts Saturday against Rangers. Are you going, Ian?
I am indeed, yeah.
Oh, lucky you, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You in the Spurs end or Rangers end?
No, I got via a pal of mine in the Spurs end. So
good.
It's a little bit in the corner. Like a lot of away supporters, it's not the greatest view in the world, but be amongst my fellow Spurs fans. So yeah, I'll be happy.
That's good. And Ian, how do you feel now about our preseason game?
Yeah, I agree with Brian. It's all about fitness. Rangers, in fairness, have their first league game a week on Saturday, so they probably are a little bit ahead of us. They've also got 2 Champions League qualifiers to play, so I would imagine fitness-wise they may be a little bit of a step ahead of us and may play a full side, whereas I think we'll do a lot more rotating. I don't think results matter at all. And with some of the comments you get on social media, particularly when we were conceding 3 goals to the Korean select 11 and then not being able to beat Sevilla. Oh, this one's not good enough. That one's not good enough. Give me a break. And I'll take you back to when Ozzy was the manager of Tottenham. We went through pre-season. We played 5 or 6 pre-season games. We scored about 27 goals. I think we conceded 1, and then the season started, and it was complete crap after that. It's not about results. It is about getting fitness. It's about getting styles right. And for example, with the best will in the world, Manchester United are not going into their first game against Liverpool and beating them 4-0 or 4-1. It's just not happening. Hi to everybody in the chat. It's great to see so many people from different clubs on. It's always nice, particularly if people are all nice to each other. So hi everybody. So yeah, that's my view. I'm going on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing players like Basuma and Perisic who haven't got to play yet. But yeah, we're 2 weeks away. That's when it actually starts. Southampton at home is the only one that matters.
And John Moore says that he'll be in the Rangers game too. Yeah. So that's what maybe can meet up with him, Ian. Right? Yeah. And of course, I'll come to Dom. Dom, the thing is that it's like we were saying earlier, right? Our teams were actually playing in Asia, right, for the first leg of the preseason games, right? And of course, the first game that turned up for you guys were actually Manchester United and Liverpool at Bangkok. So I'll come to you first, Dom. Right? What were your thoughts about that game? And it was surprisingly our cable provider Astro, right? Maybe you can get some sponsors there, right? Showed the games live.
On local television as well, TV9. TV9 was.
TV9 too. Okay.
TV9 too as well. Yeah, correct. So, well, just before I jump into that particular game, right? Let me just say this. All right, teams like, for example, the top 4 teams last season, Liverpool, Spurs and whatnot. I think preseason for you guys is more about fitness and whatnot. Okay, but in the state that Manchester United is in at this very moment, right? Having changed the manager, I mean, twice previously. I mean, we have Ralph Rangnick came in as an interim manager and whatnot. Okay, and then basically there's changes, like 2 different philosophies in the previous season, and coming into this season, we have a new manager in the form of Erik ten Hag, right? So, and on top of that, we have players, I would say like Deadwood players like Paul Pogba, Cavani and whatnot, pretty much out of the team. So there's a lot to actually, this preseason, right? We actually need to utilize it in many other ways apart from fitness. Of course, fitness is also important. Okay, we got to see whether which player will actually suit the philosophy of Erik ten Hag. Okay, because mind you that the transfer window is still ongoing right up until August. Okay, obviously we are going to buy players in, and of course we got to sell players because our budget allocated by the Glazers is only apparently at 120 mil. So this time is actually crucial for Manchester United. Okay, so going into the Bangkok game, obviously we are not playing with the Liverpool, the actual first team of the Liverpool first team lah. All right, we are playing pretty much with the B team, and of course with the younger players and whatnot. But then for us, the manager, you can actually see he's actually taking this very seriously. Okay, because he wants to implement his style of play. Obviously, Manchester United, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, okay, with the various coaches that are managers that came in, right, we don't have one proper style of football. Okay, we have, of course, Louis van Gaal, pragmatic style of play, side-to-side passing and whatnot, defensive style and whatnot, but it's not really the Manchester United way of playing it. Okay, Jose Mourinho comes in. He's the kind of guy, I'm sure that you guys would know, he would do whatever it takes just to get a trophy and whatnot, just to prove a point that he's the special one and whatnot. Okay, and then comes in Ole. No, not really any particular style of football. Okay, just maybe the players then they were motivated by more of passion, and then more of like you're having a legend in the club and whatnot, and then they are playing just out of adrenaline and whatnot, and then long and behold they actually burn out and whatnot. But this time around, we have a manager with a proper philosophy and whatnot, which is, again, he's trying to implement into the team. Okay, many of these players 5 years ago, I mean, a lot of players, talented players, they are pretty much wasted their time trying to, they don't have a proper direction and of a certain style of play and whatnot. So again, just to summarize it and whatnot, that game is very, very important for us. And actually, it was actually good to actually see the players actually falling to a certain style of play. Okay, although we have been training only for like 2 weeks, you can actually see it in the players that they pretty much know what they're supposed to do in a way. And of course, as the preseason game progresses, the other 2 more games, you can actually see much more improvements. And of course, players that were out of form, Anthony Martial, I would shout out the guy, Anthony Martial, out of form, pretty much out of his way out of the club and whatnot. Actually, you can actually see he's coming into this season as a valuable player for Manchester United.
And of course, at the moment now, I just let to answer Dad's question. Daz, just to let you know, Jamie messaged me in the last minute that he can't join us tonight. And just to answer Stephen's question earlier too, he had some family matters that came up all of a sudden. Hopefully, we'll get him on the show the next time, right? And of course, let's get to Stephen. Stephen, Liverpool, you all did your business early, right?
Yeah.
Were you surprised of the performance that was put up in Bangkok against Manchester United, or you were just, I mean, they're more like there for a marketing stint and more of the build-up fitness and more of an understanding. Because honestly, I didn't watch most of the games that the other teams played on their preseason. How did you feel about what?
Yeah.
How do you feel about your I mean Liverpool now in their development? Because you did sell Sane, right? And of course, you got in Luis Diaz in January, and now you brought in
Yeah.
85 million to a 100 million euros or pound player called Darwin Nunes, right? How do you see that? I mean, do you think are you all more or less in the transition period, or is just a slight shift of players moving in and out?
It's just all part of evolution, isn't it? Really, I mean, these players were aging a little bit. Mane got his move. His family are in Germany, first and foremost. So obviously he needed that move, and we give him it. Wish him all the best in that. Going back to your question about pre-season, first and foremost, I mean, you can tell which team we're trying to, obviously, who wanted to win that more with regards to the team lineup selections, etc. With Manchester United's strongest team in the first 45 minutes. And then second half, it was mainly youngsters, to be honest. So Manchester United came back a week earlier to pre-season as well. So the fitness took its toll on the end of the day. But fitness, like Brian and Ian have said it, and obviously Dom as well have said, it is all about fitness at the end of the day. Results don't matter, because if you go back to 2019 when Liverpool had the pre-season, they didn't win any games and then went on to win the Premier League. So not that I'm saying that's going to happen again, but at the end of the day, pre-season is all about fitness, and this team is just obviously replacing people who are obviously getting on a bit now, and 30 isn't very old, but Premier League, it can be classed as old now. So we're just obviously replacing them. We've got Carvalho in from Fulham as well, another great signing. So yeah, we've got a younger side. I wish Mane all the best, but I still don't see a weakness in that side when it comes to the forwards. Maybe just one or two more in midfield we could do with, just as ball runners more than anything else, because we lack a bit of depth when it comes to creativity in that midfield. When Thiago is not playing or he's injured, we do lack creativity in that midfield. So that's something that realistically I'd like to see is improve, is that just attacking midfielder, ball carry midfielder for Liverpool. And I think that's the only other thing we need. We've replaced our right. We've got a right back in to challenge Trent now, and Calvin Ramsey. He hasn't played pre-season yet. He's been injured, unfortunately. But we've replaced everywhere else that we need to sort of strengthen. So I'm not worried. I'm looking forward to this season, and I think we will still definitely challenge Manchester City for the title this season coming.
And of course, just hold on for a while. Let me bring on another guest on the show. He's Ankit. Ankit is a Chelsea fan. Hi, Ankit. Yeah,
Hi, Eugene.
Ankit, I think you've met Brian before. You've met Ian before.
I think
not
I've
sure
met
where
you before, my friend. Yep.
Of course.
Even is the Statman Stops. I'm thinking we are in the same.
Of course, Steven, I know him very well. As in, come on, he's a buddy as well. But of course, great to be back, and of course, Coach Dom.
Right.
Big up to everyone. Great to be
you
here.
Met,
Long time.
Coach Dom before?
No, I haven't, but great to meet him as well. Looking forward.
And of course, I was talking to Stephen about Liverpool and all their transfer window, and of course the preseason games. And of course, now back to you. I'll put the question to you too, Ankit. It's very simple. Preseason games that you Chelsea has had. What are your feelings about it, and what teams have you actually played?
Yeah, you know what? So our preseason is kind of started late for whatever reason. As in, we all know, no secrets there, that our ownership was an issue for a good few months, and we got the ownership late. As in, finally, Todd Buddy and team is kind of come, and after coming, no secrets with Lukaku. What happened? That was what was going on, and I think a lot of things. So we didn't have as much as maybe, as in, behind closed doors kind of games that we probably would have expected in a normal preseason. But the fact that it's all out of the window now, and now things are only looking forward, I think it's a great time for Chelsea, because I think it cannot go worse than what has already happened. Let's put it that way. The last 6 months, I know you can relate to us the way that things have transitioned. The clubs, not Liverpool. I mean, of course, Manchester United and Spurs fans in the house. But in terms of games, like we had one game with the Club America. It was a comeback, kind of with Mason Mount scoring a great goal. But again, not really reading too much because it was the first game of preseason. I don't think there's too much to read into it. Also, the fact that I think controversially, a couple of people were not there. Like N'Golo Kante wasn't allowed to kind of be there because he's not vaccinated and things like that. And of course, with a lot of contract issues going on with maybe Aspilicueta, he might go as well. We played almost a team which should not start any games, right? And that is what the team started. Gallagher was someone who really looked good in that game, and that's someone that I'm really looking for. I'm pretty sure even the neutral would agree that he was one of the standout youngsters of last season, right? So Gallagher, very interestingly, Tuchel chose to play him in the double pivot, which is not something that I anticipated personally. Yes, he has played that in the academy of Chelsea, but under Vieira, he actually improved a lot, even kind of, pressing up front and actually, hitting a shot. So I was hoping that he would probably be an apt Mount replacement. But the way that he played in that game, and he not only did he show that he could actually have that, tenacity in midfield that a Kante usually has. And I'm actually putting, yes, Kante and Gallagher in the same sentence. But he also has that pass. So he's probably a mix of Kante and Kovacic. So I was really impressed with him overall. Ampadu has come back from Italy, probably a grown player. So hopefully we'll use him, not as a starter. But there are a lot of positive points that we can take, despite it not being a really important game because it is just the first game in preseason. We are playing tomorrow morning, very early morning. It's 5 a.m. here where I live. So let's see if I can wake up early and not only that, cover the match. But yeah, Charlotte FC is what we're playing, and Orlando City. I think in Orlando City. So I think it's going to be a good match, and we can bring on Arsenal.
And of course, now apart from that, on my views on preseason is very simple, like what the rest of us have been saying, right? It's more about the fitness, the understanding of the teams, right? How they understand each other, the players, and all that. But at the moment now, a lot of fans, right, are already picking out a lot of the weaknesses that the teams have while they're playing their preseason, right? I'll go to Brian. Brian, we played 2 games in Korea, right? Of course, I think the first game we played against the Team Korea
League.
League, yeah, the Team Korea team K-League team. It was more like a real friendly, right? But when we played Sevilla, that game got pretty rough in the end, right? But it shows that at least we are showing some grit now. But so early in the preseason match, right, that all these tackles are flying in, right? There was even blood spilled, right,
Yep.
in the preseason game, right? So, but I mean, it wasn't intentional, but of course, right, it's still blood spilled, right? That shows that Spurs are actually trying to be rather serious in what they're doing now. And like you were saying earlier, how would you say, at the moment, Conte is actually putting on that fitness drill in them, right? What you call 42 laps of the field, if I'm not mistaken. That's like their
Or 2 lengths.
for 42 lengths, yeah, 42 lengths of the field that they have to run every day, right? In during training. So, how do you feel? Do you think that from there on, with the new additions coming in for this Saturday game that we're going to play, because I think most of our teams, right, will be playing this Saturday, apart from Liverpool or Manchester United. You having one game this weekend? I mean, this Wednesday.
We are playing Villa this Saturday.
Yeah, Steven.
What's that? Sorry.
Are you playing a game midweek?
Yeah, we've got a game tomorrow against RB Leipzig over in Germany.
Okay. And Kit,
Oh,
are
that's
you
a
guys
tough
playing?
one.
You're playing.
Yeah.
You're
So
playing
we
Charlotte tonight.
Charlotte FC and Arsenal. I think we have a couple of games coming this week. I think again for us it's crucial because we just have a handful of games, right? So it's really crucial.
Right. So coming back to Spurs, of course we're playing late Rangers. They're a bit ahead of on us on the fitness levels. Do you think that Conte will actually bring in all the new players that we're going to play against Rangers today, this Saturday coming, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, going back to the game against Sevilla, it was always going to be a bit more intense. They're both two European teams that are a few weeks away from their season starting, and every single player wants to get their season up and running. You've got to remember it's a World Cup year, so they're not just playing for their club; they're playing to try and go to Qatar. So they've got that added ingredient this season. When it comes to Rangers, Ian will be able to testify very, very from close quarters. There is no friendly between England and Scotland.
No,
It could be a game of Connect Four or a game of Twister, and it becomes the most intense battle you'd ever see. So that game, and Rangers Ibrox is a very hostile stadium to go to. It will be a very, very brutal game. There is no friendly, and you know what? For once, this is what I'm happy to see Spurs doing. We've spent too many seasons with our prima donnas just going, yeah, do what you want, it's easy, you whatever. Well, now they have Conte, who is a born winner, showing them this is what I do to get players to the level I get them to. You either come along for the ride or I'll flush you out and off you go. And we've seen that with players like Bergwijn. If you're not going to be in his plans, off you go. There's no waiting around on ceremony or keeping them for years beyond their sell-by date for us. So when it comes, I think in the next two games, you'll start seeing his first team players get more than 45 minutes. The ones that he knows are going to start on August the 6th or 5th, whatever, 6th against Southampton are going to get more than the 45 minutes, whether it's they come on as a late first half sub or and finish the game or whatever. But I think Rangers also, you got to be very wary of this game of injuries because, like I said, there will be no friendly. There will be no friendly in this game. So Rangers, I think he'll start bringing the players that he intends to play for longer periods. Maybe not all together, but they will get longer moments. Then I think against Roma, you'll get a clear definition of, right, this is how he's going to start against Southampton. And then we'll wait and see what happens. But with the fitness thing, long may this continue because it's what you want to see. What you got to remember with Poch, how many games we used to win by scoring late because we were fitter than other teams. And it's what Conte's doing. We need to be fitter. And look what he did in the 5 months that he had for the season. He transformed that team, and with a pre-season, it's going to be quite frightening.
All right. And Ian, you'll be there at the game, right?
Yeah, I will be there. Apart from our different stances on Mr. Levy, I tend to agree with Brian, and he tends to agree with me on most things. I think that's right. I think what we will see is players that I haven't seen the two pre-season games, so I'm glad you haven't asked me too much about them. But Basuma hasn't played, Davis hasn't played, Perisic hasn't played. Spence hasn't played for obvious reasons. He hasn't played. I expect them to get some game time on Sunday, and I do think he will chop and change a fair bit more than I expect Rangers to, because they're only a week away from their start. But I agree totally with Brian. The game against Roma in Israel, I think then you'll get a very, very clear idea of what his starting 11 is going to be. It won't be that different. Lenglet, if I pronounce that right, will play a fair bit against Rangers as well. It'll give players game time. I actually think we're probably a friendly or two light. We might have had another couple of games, but there's a long season to go. So, that's what I expect to see. I expect a fair bit of rotation, followed by the main team playing the majority of the game against Roma.
I had a quick question, if I may, Eugene. This goes out to all the Spurs fans, right? Because Longley, the kind of the career he's had. He had one very good season in Sevilla, but he's fallen off a cliff. He was almost there in the France team and stuff like that. And then, for Barca, he was almost he was a Harry Maguire of Barca almost. That's how badly he was criticized at times. I covered a lot of Barca content. I know a lot of Barca fans did not rate him at all. But again, if he gets back to the Sevilla level, which Conte can get him, and of course, with Davis being there, do you see that probably yeah, it's a lone player, but probably you would want to see someone new with Davis being there, or you rather that Davis is our proven guy. He starts.
Mm. I'll just have a short one on that first. I think for Langley, he's coming in. For the quality wise, I think he's much better than Davis, right? But of course, Davis did bring up his levels of the game. I mean, his levels for the game in the last few games of the last season, right? Honestly, to me, is that I still feel that we do need a real quality center back, right, to play in that back three. Brian, what do you think about the Langley thing?
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry, Eugene.
About Langley and Davis, right?
Longley or Davis, who's the person that you would go as a starter?
So I'm a big believer of if you've the way Davies has finished the season, he deserves to start. I mean, for the last month and a half, he was our best defender. He was sensational, and it's his jersey to lose, so to speak. So, and you got to remember, Ben Davies also carried that form into Wales to get them qualified for the World Cup. He is very, very underrated. He's sometimes used as a scapegoat when he's been absolutely sensational. Langley is a very, very smart piece of business. Obviously, we wanted Bastoni, and there was talk of Gvardiol that was a field dream of happening. But these players, we got Langley to come in for a year, and then these players might be on the move. And Langley for Sevilla in a back three was awesome. In a back two for Barcelona, he was hideous. And guess what? He comes into a back three at Tottenham, and he'll go on the left-hand side. So we started last season saying we needed to get replacement for Davies because he was surplus to requirements. Well, now it's gone to we need competition for Davies. That's how well he's done. And for me, at the start of the season, I don't care how well Langley plays against Rangers and Roma. On August the 6th, I fully expect that Ben Davies fully deserves to start that game.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting. Scott's just come on. Stephen will know. Liverpool, when they had a defensive crisis, I think about a year and a half ago, went out and paid an awful lot of money for a Ben Davies from Preston, who, funnily enough, Celtic were very interested in. And if Ben Davies, if he got a bench start, that was about as close as he got to the first team. It was a very, very strange piece of business. And I gather there's talk again about him coming up to Scotland. But again, I agree with Brian. Ben Davies was absolutely sensational. I mean, two things. One, the game at Anfield, he was laying his body on the line time and time again. He was absolutely fabulous. And then having got a yellow card after about 17 minutes against Arsenal, it was right in front of me. You've always got the situation, don't give the referee an opportunity to even it up. When Arsenal went down to 10 men, and I don't remember Davis making another foul, never mind about giving the referee an opportunity to send him off. I think he's been superb. He will have a mistake in him, but most players do. But part of the problem with
wait. I swear Rob Holding was the guy who got sent off in that game.
I could have sworn I was talking there.
Hi,
Let me at least finish before you, before you shout me down. Is that Davis has a mistake in him? True enough. Sanchez has a mistake in him. Dyer has a mistake in him. Lloris has a mistake in him. Most defensive players do at some point. The part of the problem is, if Kane blasts over the bar from 6 yards, which he does occasionally, people just forget that he'll get the next one. Defenders make mistakes. It sometimes leads to goals. What you've got to look at collectively is how well they play together, and they all play really well together. And secondly, the number of goals we conceded from about February onwards was really low. That's the acid test to me. Yeah, you can always upgrade. I've got no objection to upgrading. But the players that were there, Romero, and he was out for the last 3 games of the season, Davis and Dyer, did exceptionally well. And it's for other players coming in to give them competition and show they're better than the incumbents, and put them out the team with proper upgrades rather than failures of form.
No, because you know what? Why again? I know I'm kind of sticking to the point. I know we're waiting for Nipun, but Ian and Eugene, why I asked that, because Tanganga, I think, has got linked to Milan today, and I kind of follow
Yeah.
Milan very closely as well. So for me, I'm just kind of putting neutral perspective here. As much as Longley was brilliant in three at the back, I get that, and Conte, as Eugene knows that I kind of love Conte, and that's one of the reasons why I don't hate Spurs as much as I should this season. But having said that, the fact is that for me, Tanganga probably has a higher ceiling than a Longley, if I'm being really honest, in the Premier League. So I'm kind of very surprised that that was taken. I know it's a left-sided centre back, but Tanganga, can he not play that? He can do that,
Mhm.
right?
Tanganga is more on the right, right? So
Okay.
Yeah, Tanganga is very right-sided.
he's very
Okay.
right-sided. So yeah, but like you say that, but the thing with Langley is that we only got him for a loan for a season, not even with an option to buy, right? But before I continue, hi Nippon, thanks for joining us. I'm sure you've met most of the people around here. You know Ankit, right? And of course,
I'm very familiar with Ankit.
and Steven, yeah.
And
Brian, I
I was in the comment section of his channel earlier on.
Yep. And of course, Brian, have you met Brian before next to me here?
Yeah, Brian, I'm very familiar with him from Will's
And-
channel. I've
Will's
also seen him
channel.
on Henry Wright TV, and we are
Yeah.
talking on TV.
Yeah. And of course, you know Ian, right? Basically on from my channel.
Yeah,
right?
we've met.
We met before.
I'm
But of
going
course,
to do what Eugene, I'm just going to do what Brian's done. I'm going to grab myself a coffee as well. So I'll be back in a sec.
Sure. And just introduce you to Dom. Dom is a Manchester United fan. He runs the Malaysian channel called Jom United. Right. He's a fellow Malaysian countryman of mine. Just an introduction. Right. Of course. All right, guys. Apart from what from three of us, we're talking about Spurs, the last few preseason games that we're having, right? I'm just going to put it out there to Ankit, Stephen, Dom, and of course Nippon. The next few games that's coming up for you guys, right? The last few games before the season starts, because to tell the truth, the season is starting actually quite soon. I think another 16 days time or so.
Yeah.
That's when the season starts. 17 days time.
It's a World Cup year, right? So I think you can expect that.
Yeah, everything's cramped up. Okay, Ankit, just to go through, how many more games do you have before your next?
So, Nipun, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Charlotte FC and Arsenal, right? Are we also playing Orlando City?
It is going to be the last pre-season game. I will be doing a watch along for it. So DM me if anyone wants to join.
Perfect. Yeah, because I think these are two games, so Charlotte FC and Arsenal. As in, these are the two games that we're talking about.
I won't be doing a watch along for the Charlotte game. I will be doing one for the Arsenal.
Perfect, bro. So I think, Eugene, like I said, last time
again. The games will be played in America, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a weird hours, especially for us, that, and people in the UK as well. So the thing is, last season we had a Super Cup. Just a reminder, yes, we did play the Super Cup last season. This time we don't have that either. So, and we're not, of course, in the Community Shield. So for us, our preseason not only started late, it is also ending early because of less games, and the season itself starting early. So I'm kind of worried for that, because we, like I said, first game we were hardly there in terms of the starting 11, with a couple of people maybe playing who would probably start. But I'm looking forward to this game that is tomorrow morning, because Sterling will play. Levi Colwill is someone who's been speculated that he might leave, but again, it depends on Koundé and Kimpembe coming in. But unfortunately, he will not play because he's not trained. And Broha is injured, so he's back in London, I believe, for a treatment. Apparently, let's see if it's not for West Ham. But yeah, so I'm kind of not very, very happy with our squad, as in the timing of it. But of course, happy with Koulibaly featuring, hopefully with Sterling featuring. That would be brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And Nippon, how do you feel about the next two games coming up? Do you think it's going to be very important for you guys to build up the fitness and the understanding and the tactics coming to your first game of the Premier League?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, absolutely. And I just want to reiterate that the second of those two games, I'm not going to consider a friendly. I'm sorry, Arsenal is never a friendly. I always want to beat them.
All right. Arsenal's never friendly for Nippon. All right. And of course, let's get to Stephen. What are the last few games that you guys got to play before the season starts?
Yeah, so like I say, we've got RB Leipzig tomorrow evening. That's a 6:15 kickoff in the UK. Well, UK time anyway. Then we've got RB Salzburg next Wednesday. That's I think that's a 6 o'clock. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Sorry, as well. Then we've got the Community Shield game, 30th of July, obviously against Manchester City, and then we finish off our pre-season the day after on the 31st of July against Strasbourg at Anfield as well. So still, 4 more games to go in the pre-season for us before we start off away at Fulham on the Saturday early kickoff, 12:30. Yeah.
Wow. So, Stephen, so you guys totally had 6 preseason games, right? As in proper preseason games, if you count everything, of course, including the Community
Yeah.
Shield.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And what about Spurs?
Well, yeah.
Manchester United also have quite a few friendly. I know that. So it's kind of, that's what I'm saying. Chelsea are kind of, we are late, man. As in, again, we are having Everton first weekend. Not too very happy about it. We always start late, but again, let's hope that
And
we get in.
that's going to be an automatic L for us. We know Everton have never lost the first game of the season.
Yeah, but it's Lampard, right? And Lampard, last time what happened, we met them.
Yep, he beat us.
Exactly.
And let me come to Dom. Dom, your last few games. But my weird feeling now is that Chelsea and Manchester United, you're finishing your season tour in the Americas, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. That means your last few games will be played in America, and who are you guys playing against?
United will be
Arsenal.
Sorry, so
Dom.
all right. We'll be playing Villa this Saturday. All right, it's still in Australia. Yeah, I'm not quite sure the last 2 games where we are playing.
Yeah, it's Australia actually. I was going to say, is it Thailand or Australia is what I heard, because when the news about Ronaldo came, the fact that he's not traveling to Thailand and Australia is something that I remember. So probably Australia is, you're right, Dom.
Yep,
That means MU is still in Asia.
Yeah,
they're in Australia. They played in Australia. Oh, Man U, sorry. I thought you said Villa. Villa are still in Australia.
Yeah, we're in Australia this Saturday, and then we'll be playing Atletico Madrid on the 30th, and then we have this other Spanish team, Raya Volcano, something like that. I think this was something that Rio. Yeah, this was something that apparently Eric Ten Hag actually arranged it so that he can actually have more game time to actually try out his tactics and to see who will actually start and whatnot for the game, the first game of the season. Yeah, so I think total, I thought initially it was just us United having 6 preseason games, but I think now good to know that Liverpool is also having 6 games as well.
Interesting that a Manchester United fan is saying it's good to know about Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Steven is cool. I've met much more.
I can back that for Steven, 100%.
It's cool. It's cool. So it's all good.
Yeah.
But yes, Nippon.
Sorry, I was just breathing out.
Okay. All right. Okay. Since the preseason games and that more or less we've got it in our system, right? Now we'll go to the transfers. Okay. But of course, I'll give Ankit the first say because he doesn't have much time left nowadays. Ankit, you're doing a lot of shows.
It's just hard work and passion, mixing together. And you know what? The reason I say that is because Chelsea, we need to work like proper workhorses now. The time has come that we cannot let Liverpool and City kind of keep dominating. So I'm kind of leading the charge, put it that way. But yeah, certainly helps. Just keeping myself busy with the channels. But having said that, Eugene, I would say not very glad with the transfer, the way that we have gone about things, because you can say that brilliant 2 signings, Sterling, superb. In my opinion, yes, not the top bracket, but just below it. Very, very underrated in terms of not given the core credit what he deserves in the Premier League, the respect. So for me, he is a no-brainer. Koulibaly, brilliant signing. Arguably, you would say possibly in world football, the only man who can, if at all, replace Rudiger, if there's something like that. That's what I would say. But at the same time, what about others? We've had people leaving left, right, center. Obviously, Christensen going. I won't think too much about it. Fair enough. But Aspilicueta might leave. Alonso might leave. Already Lukaku, I already spoke about, although I wanted him out, the fact is we don't have like a core number 9. Is Broha going to stay? Is Colwell going to stay? Gallagher, great. He's like a new signing for us. But again, because of Jorginho, we got to keep him. And I love the guy. But the fact is he'll be there. I don't think we're going to go 4 at the back, which I personally, if you watch my streams, I'm like saying that no, this is the best excuse for Chelsea to try something new, which Tuchel tried in between last season. Ziyech could have been worked out in a 4-3-3 system, but unfortunately, we don't have that core DM. So I would have wanted that, but I don't think we have the time and the money because we need centre backs. We literally don't have bodies. We have like Thiago Silva, Malang Sarr, and Aspilicueta. Of course, Koulibaly is joined, right? That's actually a centre back. Chaloba, of course, is there, but we don't have like real quality when I compare myself to even the Spurs this season, or of course, Liverpool and Man City. So for me, the Kunde, I think Barcelona. Let's be honest. As much as I have, like Nipun says about Arsenal, for me also Arsenal, Spurs, and Leeds of the likes are my rivals, right? But let's be real.
Now,
even
for
the
me,
transfer
for me, it's always been Arsenal. Well, out of the English teams anyway, Arsenal. Sorry, Dom, you're not going to like this. Arsenal, Man United, Man City.
Wow, City. Interesting. And maybe Liverpool. I would put Liverpool. Steven is like, no, because we had a lot of tussles there. But the point I was coming to is like, Barcelona have been a rival in the transfer market. We are directly competing with Barcelona, and the honest truth is, as much as I would like to win every transfer battle there, when it comes to Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, the likes, we know decades together. We watched Eugene. You know it. A lot of people here on the panel know it. That the fact is, we cannot get that pull, and that's something that we are rebuilding again, and that's where I think Chelsea are going to lose in the transfer market again. Yes, Kunde news is coming that we might get him. I'm the other way around. For me, even if a Kunde comes, I don't think he's going to upgrade anything for this season. He's going to upgrade us for the future, but he's not going to upgrade us for this
He's
season.
an upgrade on Chalobah.
Do you think, I have my jury out. For me, Chalobah was brilliant. Yes, both have mistakes. Kunde, if you actually see his record, he gives away a lot of penalties. Very good playing from the back.
Apparently, he's
Chalobah
also
is a brilliant
very.
through ball, bro.
Apparently, he loses his temper a lot as well.
Exactly. So I've seen him. So whenever, I don't know whether it's about me, whenever I've watched Kunde, he's either given a penalty or a red card. That's something that has happened with Kunde. I don't know whether it's me being bad luck for Kunde or what, but that's actually happened. Again, I'm not one who watches La Liga every week in, week out, especially Sevilla game.
Are you talking about that game in which he threw the ball in Jordi Alba's face?
Yeah, that one, and plus even when a penalty with France, you saw it with France as well. Yeah, I know he plays his right back at times.
One of them was he was so angry that he didn't get the move to Chelsea, and he was just showing his frustration.
Correct.
The other one that Jordi Alba was basically winding him up, and
Exactly.
he got under his skin.
And a lot more. Nipun, my point is the guy is good. I'm not saying that he's not good. He's superb when it comes to playing from the back. He has a very high ceiling. But I'm looking at basically all the other clubs. As in, for example, we need a backup right wing back. We need a backup right back. Because last season was, like everyone, again, short-term memory loss. The fact is we were top of the table December 1st, if I remember right. Yes, Man City looked best at that point in time. Liverpool definitely looked, the Liverpool of the last few years. But we lost a lot of momentum when we, went through those injuries. And those injuries started from Chilwell and Reece James. We have not learned from that. We think that Aspilicueta might stay, but what if he actually moves to Barcelona? Knowing Chelsea, we are a bit too good with our legends. Yes, of course, he's a legend. I love him to core. But the way that we gave check to Arsenal, fair enough to some extent, is a goalkeeper. But Aspilicueta go to Barcelona when we are actually fighting with Barcelona in the transfer market. I wouldn't want that. We talked about Spence. Spence is a brilliant signing for me. He's a fantastic signing. I've actually watched quite a lot of Spence. For me, this guy really is top draw. He can get there. As in, I'm just wondering, why not us? Because we needed that as well. And even for centre half, Kunde, we are going to spend again. Barcelona bid 50 million euros. We have bid 55 million euros. And looks like, as per Di Marzio's latest tweet just a couple of hours back, we are now favorites. We have overtaken Barcelona. But that keeps happening with Barcelona this transfer window, right? Even if we get him, I'm saying that he's not worth that.
I want us to face them in the Champions League at some point.
Exactly. That's what. As in, we cannot give away Alonso and Aspilicueta. Yes, Alonso, people criticize for fun. I do it a lot of times on my channel. But the guy actually, like, Spurs fans will obviously remember, right? As in, come on. Alonso is a cult player because of the fact that for Chelsea, because that he has that moment in him. and he has been in Chelsea for a very long time. If we continue three at the back, Alonso is not too bad as a backup. The fact is, we were wanting to upgrade him because Tuchel wanted to change the formation, but I don't see that happening. So there are a lot of criticism that you can see in my tone, but the fact is, like, I want to get back in the league. As in, bottom line is, yes, we are in transition phase, but at the same time, as in, we cannot get away with the fact that Liverpool and City have been dominating the league for the last 5 years. We need to get over that at some point. Hopefully, we do something like what Conte did. Talk about Conte. Conte did with us in 2017, right? You never know. With Todd Burley coming in, maybe that's something that we needed.
Look,
Let's see.
This is one thing, right? This is
No,
quite
no,
weird,
no,
right? A Chelsea fan coming onto a Spurs channel complaining that you don't have depth.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
I just speak the truth. That's what
before
it
you
is.
go on, big up to Bob Spur, right?
He's in.
Thanks for, big up to Bob Spur, right? Of course, Bobby K too. Bobby K, right? Drive carefully, right? I'm not sure whether you're driving a bus or you're driving to work. Don't do this on the bus, right? But like you're saying, I understand what Ankit is saying, right? He feels that a lot of holes have been dug up in Chelsea lately. Of course, the defense has been dramatically weakened with Rudiger leaving and of course Christensen leaving. You need to cover all that. And we talk about Koundé, right? Koundé was linked to Spurs and he rejected us because we didn't have any Champions League, and more or less he doesn't want to come and blah blah blah. And now the tussle between Chelsea, come on, Ankit and Nippon, you guys have been linked to Koundé since we've been linked to Koundé, and he still haven't moved the line.
See,
Right.
Eugene, that's my point. Are there no centre backs? Like, what happened? I know Marina Granovsky has moved on and she's in the consultant role, but don't tell me I could scout better, not better, but at least some more names in 12 months of time. Why don't go
No,
for a Gleison Bremer?
No, the thing is, it's the same for Spurs. We've been saying, right? I'm sure Brian and Ian agree, right? Eric Dyer is not up at that level, right? To bring us to the next level, right? Being the main centre back. We are looking for we at the beginning of the season, we were like linked to Bastoni, right? The whole of the first Spurs fan base was like, oh, going crazy. Next thing we know, Bastoni doesn't want to come, right? Then next is Bremer. Then next is the next person, and next person, and next person. But the thing is that who will actually come, we really do not know. Maybe there's some deals going behind at the moment that we do not see, we do not know, right? Silently that will come in, like what we did with Bissouma. None of us Spurs fans were actually aware of Bissouma at the time that we were even linked with him. Within 3 days,
That's the difference this time, right? So don't you think that there's a huge upgrade that Spurs has done in the transfer window by actually doing that, pulling that off, behind closed doors? Perisic, the fact that he knows Conte, of course, Paratici has helped there. So
one of the things, Eugene, I found really interesting is that when we couldn't buy Bastoni, rather than going for the second or third option, we've got Lenglet on a 1-year loan, no option to buy inserted into the contract. That doesn't mean we can't go and buy him. It's a 1-year loan, presumably on the basis that we're looking to strengthen that, but not looking to just buy players for the sake of buying. Now, I hear what you're saying about Dyer, and I think if you're going to win the league and a challenge again in the Champions League, you're not wrong to say we've got to upgrade that. Albeit, Dyer does seem to be incredibly popular amongst the managers, plural, that we have, and offers a lot in terms of leadership. The one name I'll throw out there is Pau Torres, particularly as it would appear that Villarreal are very keen to sign Lo Celso. And I thought we're in a pole position there, that he didn't come last year, said he wanted to play Champions League football and we couldn't offer him. If he wants Champions League football and wants to come to England, then there is a deal to be done in exchange for Lo Celso. And when you look at that to me would be the kind of upgrade we're looking at, rather than just spending £40 million on a player that doesn't give you any more than you've already got. And hi, Bob, by the way, love to you too, mate.
Yeah. And of course, just before we continue, right? Ankit, plug your channel before you leave, right? Tell us what you have.
And again, sorry guys, I have to move on, but absolutely brilliant. Eugene knows it. It's just the time difference sometimes doesn't, make me kind of available all the time. But I love the panel, and Brian, I met you, Ian, I met you, Steven, of course, bro, as in we know. But Dom, great to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Nipun, always, brother there. But having said that, yes, you can find me, as you can see below, it's Almighty Blues. It's Almighty Blues FC. That's the football channel that I have 100% dedicated to. I kind of cover, I try and cover all the top 5 leagues as well as international football. So any content of football, you can try and find there. But we also do some cricket on our other channel, which is Almighty Sports Plus, along with some football as well there. So any cricket lovers are welcome. But brilliant to be on. And of course, Eugene, we'll catch up soon on Twitter. We
Thanks
always
for being
do.
on.
And,
Right. Talk to you later, Ankit.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
All the best for the season. Bye.
Right, all the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, good, mate.
Eugene,
All the best.
Of course, sorry, Stephen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
That's
get to
fine.
Stephen first. Stephen,
Well,
for
I've
the
got to go,
transfer.
Eugene. I've got to go. Let me just say
Brian.
one quick thing about
Okay,
Dyer, then I've got to shoot off. So, do you know what it is with me with Eric Dyer? Like Ian said, all the managers seem to like him. And if you look at it, last season, we were worse with Dyer out of the squad than we were with Romero. And Romero is our best defender by far. There's something Eric Dyer does in the middle of that back three. Don't get me wrong, he needs upgrading. If we want to be serious and trying to get far in the Champions League, if we want to win the Premier League or even be in the competition or in the mix for winning it, we need an upgrade on him and him to be more of a squad player. But he brings something to the squad. In all the summer buying that we're buying, the one place where I don't think the replacement is has to be sorted is him. If you can get that left wing back, if you get the left centre back and right centre back going well, you got to remember Davinson Sanchez had his best first season in the middle of a Jan and Toby. And when you got a Jan and Toby either side of you, that guy can do what he wants because them two will just mop everything up. Dyer, yes, he needs replacing, but his organisational skills, his getting his message out, his organisation, there is definitely an improvement with him under Conte. Yes, he needs to be improved on, but it's one of those players. Yup, he makes a mistake. Let's scapegoat him. I've never been like Dyer's got to go. I've been very close to saying it, very close.
Right.
But if you look at everything we're doing, we do need added competition for him and better to raise the standards. But we kept 16 clean or 13 clean sheets last season. It's not just the main problem we had last season was wing backs, and it's been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And with the wing backs doing what they do better, that defense is going to have more cover. So that's Dyer needs replacing, but I don't think it's this big. Oh my God, we've got to get better because he's terrible. Everyone was saying at the end of the season he should be in the England squad.
Yeah,
you don't get in the England squad, and it's not just Spurs fans saying that. Other players were saying, other teams were saying. So he can't be that bad if people are saying he should be back in the England squad. So that's what I've got to say now. I've got to go make a cup of tea before I quickly make my other commitment. But
right,
Eugene, always a pleasure. Ian, we'll be in contact soon.
Take care, my friends.
Guys, big love. Everyone in the chat, big love.
Big
care.
Speak to you soon.
Brian, I've got to ask you something before you go.
Go.
Dyer.
Go.
Do you not? But I mean, I know you want to upgrade on Dyer, but have you not noticed about the type of centre backs Antonio Conte uses? He has a knack of getting the best out of average centre backs.
Yeah, that's what I've just been saying.
When we won the league in 2017, we had a centre back pairing of David Luiz and Gary Cahill.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've just said. Exactly what I've just said. The Dyer is there, and at the moment, for me, it's more important to try and get a James Maddison through the door for that extra bit of creativity in midfield. That for me, the next big purchase. If we start the season with these centre backs, yes, I'd love a Bastoni to come in. Don't get me wrong. If he's available, you get him. But I don't want us to just go buy a player for the sake of buying a player. I'm perfectly happy for Dyer to start the season. When you got Romero and Davies, or you got Longley, I'm happy. I'm happy. But like I said, I will leave you guys at it.
I'll catch you up later.
And if you need to see more of me, because everyone wants to see more of me, or no, let me just shrink my head. Danny Kiriakou, Danny Kiriakou, Brian Ireland, Adam Clark, Tottenham on tour, which we're going to get you guys on very, very soon. But everyone, take care. Peace out. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
All right, let me get to Stephen before he has to hop off. Right, he's got a commitment. Stephen, your transfers. How do you feel now for the season? Any new players coming in after?
Obviously, other than the ones I've really mentioned, we've got Darwin Núñez, who's came from Benfica, 64 million, rising up to 85 million. I can't really say I've seen much of him other than the games against Liverpool, other than obviously the YouTube clip, like every fan does, I suppose. They go on YouTube and when they link with a player and just go and search him and see how he is. But he looks like he's got potential. He's only 22. He knows where the goal is. He's a great header of the ball as well. He's got pace as well, so he's got everything, and he's just going to have to. It's going to take time because he's going to have to adapt to a different system. Whereas Benfica was playing as more of a counter-attacking side, whereas now Liverpool have 70 or 80% of possession in most games. He's going to get a lot more time on the ball. He's going to get a lot more chances, and he will do fine. Carvalho, obviously from Fulham, another youngster who's came on well. I think second in assists in the Championship last season, so he's going to come on well. Obviously Luis Diaz, who was signed in January, or because obviously you guys wanted to sign him in January, so we were wanting to sign him this summer, in fact, but we had to step aside and obviously try and sign him in January, which we did, thank goodness. And the only other one who springs to mind is Calvin Ramsey, the young right back from Aberdeen. But I'd like to see another one in midfield, a ball carrying midfielder, like I've said. I know we've been linked with Jude Bellingham. There's someone else who I can't quite remember off the top of my head who we've been linked with, but another midfielder. So yeah, I think the only area that we need to strengthen is that midfielder, ball carrying midfielder. I know we've got Navigator, but he's hardly ever on the pitch. He's normally injured. So
do you feel Stephen? Do you feel you still miss Wijnaldum in that role?
I think the only thing that we missed from Wijnaldum, I would say, is just his availability. He played 40 games a season without a shadow of a doubt. He was just always available, and we haven't really got that luxury now.
I have a question.
You sorry?
I have no idea why you try and go after Frankie de Jong. He clearly wants Champions League football. And no, this isn't a dig against Dom by any means. Why do you go after Frankie de Jong, Stephen?
I don't think he's a Jurgen Klopp type of player. He likes someone who's going to work, who's going to give energy in midfield. I don't think he's that type of player personally for me.
That's right.
I really don't. Yeah. So that's
But
personally
you
why.
need a midfielder, though.
Sorry?
You need a midfielder, though.
Yeah, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt, we need another midfielder. We need another midfielder desperately. But
Stephen, I wonder if someone like John McGinn would be the kind of player you want, who would be a better player and a better team.
John McGinn, another Brexit caller.
Well, hang on, ask Stephen.
No, to be fair, mate. Yeah, he was linked with Liverpool last season, but Aston Villa were quoted in £50 million, which he's not worth that. I do rate him. He is a good player, but I'd say if anything, he's more 20 million, if anything, but certainly not 50 million. But yeah, he's got bags of energy, of course.
You know why he's 50 million? British tax.
Yeah,
his voice that British. But Stephen, before you go, would you like just plug your channel and let us know what's coming up in your shows?
Oh, I've got the show will be too long for you, Eugene. If I tell you what's coming up on my channel, I've got things left, right, and centre on the channel at the moment. But no, apologies. I've just seen that I didn't subscribe to your channel initially when I was on your channel last. I think it was earlier on in the year. So I've just sub now. So apologies for that first and foremost. But no, it's good to be on. Apologies that it's obviously not as long as I like, but school run and stuff like that. But no, you can find me Statman Stubbs Football Channel. The channel is growing massively. Only just a couple of weeks ago I was on 300, and now I'm on nearly 900. It's just grown massively. It's amazing. So no, but just thanks for having me on.
Yep. Thanks for being on, Stephen. We'll catch up again next time.
Stephen.
Yep. Take care.
No worries.
I apologize.
See you guys.
Bye bye. Right, but before
butting in so many times.
Okay, take care. Steven on.
No worries.
Right. Yeah. All right, but before I continue, right, just let me read out something for Bob Spur, right? Because Bob caught COVID and he was put in induced coma for about 2 months. He was out, or nearly 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, right before he got back his health, right? He just wants to say that I hope you don't mind, Eugene, but I'm trying to raise awareness about the lack of support available for induced coma sufferers. I admitted on Tommy's stream, I struggled from the mental side since March. Yes, and of course, then the physical side. Physically, there's plenty of support, but unfortunately, not for the mental side. I've made a step to admit my issues last night on a live stream, and more people, in particular men, should talk. Big up. Yeah, Bobby. I've sent you the link, Bobby. If you want to, you can hop on, right? If you're still watching, because I'm not sure. Maybe Sean is on now, right?
Eugene,
Yeah.
I want to say something. Ian, I'm sorry if I interrupted a little too much. I have something called ADHD, and that sometimes makes me do stuff I wouldn't usually.
Okay, no bother.
Yeah.
No
But,
bother.
okay.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry if I'm intolerant. Just as I say, you no worries, no worries. As long as you're conscious, you're doing it as well. That's half the battle.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, let's get to Dom, right? Coach Dom, what's happened to FDJ?
Because I was listening to you guys talking about transfer windows and whatnot, pretty much you guys are nitpicking. If you're talking about lack of depth, look at Manchester United, the state of Manchester United right now. I think we had like 5 players out the door, and then we are looking at replacing these 5 players, and on top of that, improving the squad. So I think at this very moment, pretty much the whole transfer window of Manchester United right now is only about one person in the form of Frankie de Jong, right? So basically, again, with the owners that we have limited budget. Of course, Richard Arnold came out saying that, we actually allocated 200 mil, but most of us, we know it's all bullshit. So most of the time, our net spend is about probably like 75, 80 million. So with the change of the manager, we are looking at maybe, 120, 130 would be around the ballpark. So right now, right, the main issue with United is they are going for this one particular player, which will pretty much take up a chunk of our budget, right? And of course, the never-ending saga, all right, from wanting to stay in Barcelona, and then now we are finding out that actually there's some wage issues. Apparently, Barcelona owes him like 17 million or somewhat. So he has to stay in the club until they pay him the amount that he needs. Then he can actually come to Manchester United. All right, that is, the issue with Frankie de Jong, but indirectly, right, since that, his this particular transfer is going to take up a chunk of our budget, right? The subsequent transfers, it's pretty much we are at a bottleneck at this moment. So it's actually frustrating for us fans right now, because every day all we hear is about FDJ, this, FDJ that.
Don, can I ask you a question based on that? Is it how worried are you by the fact that Manchester, there would be a time when Manchester United would come in for you, and wherever in the world you were, you'd walk to Old Trafford to sign. Now it just seems to be, well, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. Even the Eriksen deal with between him and Brentford seemed to take weeks to get over the line, and De Jong is another one who doesn't seem sure about going to United. How do you feel about that?
If like we were in maybe the Sir Alex Ferguson era, all right, if like someone like Christian Eriksen, you got to choose between Manchester United and Brentford. Obviously, anyone would choose Manchester United in a heartbeat, right? But then, we have fallen so far that, people have to actually weigh the options and whatnot. So yeah, it's actually worrying in this sense. But then footballers, in a way, they are all, to be a professional footballer, I'm sure they have to have some form of a self-belief and ego that if, with the state of Manchester United, a big club that we are right now at the you can say the bottom, right? I can come in and I will actually make a difference. So in a way, we can actually, there are players that still want to actually come to Manchester United. Okay, but the issue that we have all this while is the right players. And it comes back to the philosophy of the manager, like the style of play and whatnot. I can, like right now when we are talking about this, that there are so many things going on in my head right now. Like, from the commercial side of things, the owners want us to buy certain players so that we can actually sell kids and whatnot. And then we have play. Yeah,
Does it go further than the manager, though, Dom? Is it more the fact that there's a real lack of leadership from the top down, and that since Ferguson and Gill were allowed to leave, and I have a view on that that was, total mismanagement by the Glazers. But the fact that if people see the Glazers as just being people out running Manchester United for what they can get out of it, why should they be playing for the badge as people did in the old days?
I mean,
but to tell you the truth, right, Dom, what you say now is like your tussle now, right? You're tussling with Barcelona. You get what I'm saying? You're tussling with players from Barcelona, and like for people are so willing to stay in Barcelona, right? Not leave. Like at the moment now, we are linked to Memphis Depay, right? The thing is that Memphis Depay doesn't want to leave Barcelona too, but somehow or another they're trying to get him out of the club because they're trying to refresh, they're trying to bring in new players and all that. But the problem is that whenever you start to have this big tussle with the big clubs, like Manchester United is considered the biggest club, one of the biggest club in the world. You're put up there with Barcelona, right? But with these past few years that's gone by, that after Sir Alex Ferguson, there has been a decline going downwards, and you guys are trying to build it up. Is it the club philosophy that's not attracting the players? Every time, because you bring in a new manager, you change the style, the tactics, and once you break that, it's very hard to go back to the club philosophy that you have, you see. And for Spurs, our club philosophy all this while, right, has never been at that level. But once we brought in Conte, right, it's like now Conte has got Levy in his pocket. So he's listening. Yeah, without doubt, Conte has actually got Levy's in his pocket, right? Apart from the Jet Spence deal that that Conte came out with a statement. It wasn't his sign, it wasn't his preferred signing, but it was a club signing. But he also had to green light it before we could bring him in. You get what I'm saying? Because of course there's the business side, and of course there's the football side. But for Spurs, we've been looking for so many years, right, at the business side. But at least now that we are reverting back to the football side, right? For like Chelsea, when you had Roman, right? When your manager didn't perform and didn't play to the club philosophy, right? Roman kicked them out, and he will bring in a new manager that will suit what he wants. But now with, of course, the new owners coming in, like Bowley and all his group, right? Bowley is actually listening to Tuchel for what he wants, right? And of course, like we were talking about the Koundé deal, if they had signed Koundé in January, it would have been all over, right? But all of a sudden, Barcelona came into the scene, right? Now Chelsea is having a tussle with Barcelona about Koundé. Don't forget, the Rafinha deal was also there too, right? We were partly, linked to him, and Arsenal and Chelsea were the bigger teams that were not bigger teams. Chelsea, Arsenal were the more of the teams that were more attracted to him. But Rafinha was, in his heart, he wanted Barcelona, no matter what, right? So in the end, the deal was settled. Yes,
it's always a dream for a Brazilian or any South American to play either in Serie A or La Liga. So honestly, I don't blame him. I wish him all the best. And as for the Koundé thing, as for Jules Koundé, I honestly think we are in the driving seat for this one, because for the Rafinha one, his first choice was actually Barcelona, and we were second choice. But for Koundé, it's the other way around. We are his first choice, and Barca are his second. If that makes any sense.
No, but Nippon, if Koundé, right, to tell the truth, right, last season we went for Koundé and we came back with Hill. Come to think about that, right? And we gave them Lamela, right? But when you say Koundé's choice of club was Chelsea, right? Wouldn't he already be in Chelsea now instead of this Barcelona thing going back and forth, right? So is it because of, like, maybe with Roman was there, right? Roman would say that, okay, how much would Koundé want, right? If Sevilla wanted 70 million, give it to him. There's no bargain.
Roman, the thing is, Roman isn't in charge of transfers. A person, well, she's gone now. Marina
Marina.
Grant
Yeah.
in charge of transfers. And when it comes to that, she is as bad as Daniel Levy. She loves to penny pinch a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's her job, right? To try to save money. But of course, let's read out Faisal is one, right? This is the longest time Coach Wang is joining a stream session. Usually, max is 10 minutes.
No, it's just banter.
Yeah.
Big up.
But which club does Faisal support? Let me check.
Manchester United.
It looks like Man United. No. It looks like Man United.
It's Man United. It's Man
Sure,
United.
isn't it?
A friend of mine. A fellow panelist. Yeah.
Fellow panelist, yeah. So that means he's been on the shows with you, that's why. Now, but coming back to it, right? At this moment in time, all of clubs, right, especially Spurs, a lot of, of course, like Dom and Nippon, right? We've already got 6 players through. But for you guys, do you think you're trying to do a catch-up job now? But of course, we don't count the quality, right? Because Chelsea has signed Koulibaly, Sterling, okay? And of course, for Manchester United, you guys have signed Malacia and Martinez.
Eriksen and Martinez.
And Martinez. So, and of course, there's this big thing about Martinez being a centre back and all that. He's not tall enough. There's a big thing going around, right? But of course, we won't go into that, right? But for what I see is that we've got 6 players in, more or less only 3 players, right? More or less will be in the first team, having actually a chance to fight for the first team. Because Foster is like our backup goalkeeper, right? You know, when you play a backup goalkeeper again for Loris, most probably you'll be getting games in the early stages of the League Cup and the FA Cup, and of course, maybe if you're lucky, 1 or 2 games in the Champions League as a backup goalkeeper. Then, of course, now we brought in Perisic. Perisic, of course, is one of the near to what we call elite or world-class left wing back that we have, right? And coming down again, you're talking Bissouma. Bissouma was the biggest excitement, right? A lot of the other Premier League clubs that you guys would love to have Bissouma in your team, right? That will more or less strengthen our center of defense, right? He will be the commander, right? The one who will break things down and he will bring forward the ball, right? And now, of course, we get a player like Richarlison, right? And of course, a lot of you guys would have said that Richarlison paying nearly up to he's starting with 50 million pounds, going up to 60 million pounds. That's like, a hell of a lot of money, right? But for one thing is that I'm sure that even Dom, Manchester United, I don't think you will need a Richarlison, right? Because you already have more or less the players in attacking wise with Martial, Rashford.
I would say probably if it was last season when we were thicker, up front with the likes of Greenwood, we have Lingard, and who else? Players coming through, Elenga, Ronaldo, and whatnot. Yes, they were actually fighting for places. That's why Marcel actually left on a loan and whatnot. But right now, at this very moment, with Greenwood out, and the departure of this Lingard and whatnot, we are actually quite thin, front three. Right now, no doubt they are firing and whatnot, but the moment one of them gets injured, and then we know that Rashford has Martial has an injury problem. It reoccurs quite frequently, and then Rashford, he has his ankle issue, shoulder issue, which might be an issue in the next season. We never know. So anytime one of these players go out, I think we will have a big problem. Many of us United fans, we argue that probably we can get the youth to play. But again, yes, the youth to play, yes, it's good. It's one of our philosophies. It's in our DNA to actually play the youth. But then what are we trying to do right now? We are trying to bring our club back to the glory days, right? Right now, we are trying to fight for the top 4 and whatnot. So having those kind of youth with lack of experience and whatnot, a lot of potential, but lack of experience, I don't think it will actually, bring us far. And actually, we'll be pretty much stagnant where we are, actually.
And not to say, right, we haven't even talked about Ronaldo yet in your team, right? All of a sudden, like Ronaldo has been put aside because if you actually can get a tune out of Ronaldo, right, he would be wonderful for Manchester United. But like last season, what I saw in Ronaldo, right, he actually picked his games that he wanted to play.
Disagree. I disagree on that. disagree on that. One of the things that we never question about Ronaldo, I mean, there are camps right now. We have the Ronaldo in camps and the Ronaldo out. With the recent preseason games, you can see the front three firing. There are United fans that actually say that, who needs Ronaldo? We definitely need Ronaldo. And regardless of what is going on right now, him missing out on a preseason game and whatnot, he's one of the most professional athlete, football, basketball, whatever it is. At 37 years old, you don't see many athletes taking care of their diet, their training, their regime. Look at his physique. 37 years old. You don't really see, athletes like that, and he's still doing it. Week in, week out, day in, day out, and whatnot. So, I disagree that you mentioned that he actually select the games that he actually wants to play.
Yeah.
Look at what Faisal says.
Eugene, can I come in there? Because I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think the problem was getting the tune out of CR7. I think the problem was all the other instruments were out of tune with him. Yes. And I think that's where Manchester United... You agree with that?
Start off with,
yeah. And that's where it seemed to go wrong. That everything was based around was based around Ronaldo, to the point that Rashford's game went off. All right, there may be off-field distractions, MBEs and food banks and stuff that may have distracted him from his football. Martial didn't become a bad player overnight, which he seemed to be. And it just struck me watching Manchester United, and you'd also get this negative body language. Someone would play the wrong pass, a poor pass, or whatever, and the CR7 would be, doing this as much as like, what am I playing with a team as bad as this? That's never good for anybody in any working environment. So, and that to me was where Manchester United were all off last season. But I get the impression from the nods that Dom agrees with that.
Yeah. And ultimately, ultimately it comes back to, just now you were asking me the question before Eugene came in just now regarding the ownership of the Glazers and whatnot. That is actually the root cause of it. Whatever that we are experiencing now as a Manchester United fan, it did not happen within 1-2 years span. We're talking about 6-7 years. All right, with Glazers at the top, what are they thinking about? Making money. Period. All right, and then with of course the CEO then Ed Woodward. So yes,
I'll answer when Dom's finished.
Okay, Ed Woodward was in power and whatnot. The players that he is involved. A banker is involved with no football knowledge, mind you. All right, he's involved with buying players and whatnot. And so what is his priority? The commercial side of things. That's why we actually went for players like Sanchez. That was the biggest numbers move and whatnot, right? Spending that much of money for a player that is declining and whatnot. And of course, some would argue that having Ronaldo back into, buying Ronaldo, getting Ronaldo back is also one of the things for commercial purposes and whatnot. So it actually started off with all of these things. And of course, we have our issues with our managers in and out, no philosophy and whatnot. But then the managers that come in, okay, I'll give you the best example, Jose Mourinho. When he came into United, he has his track record and whatnot, his trophies and whatnot, all right? A manager like that for me is actually world class, right? Provided he's given the support and whatnot. So long and behold, he wasn't giving the players that he want. I think Perisic, he was actually going after Perisic, players like Perisic and whatnot, right? He was actually going for, we were made aware of players like that back then, but then he wasn't given those players. He wanted to sell Pogba early on. He was, the club, obviously Pogba is huge for the social media and the commercial value of the club and whatnot. So they didn't move him on and whatnot. And look at what actually happens subsequently after that. Okay, and then of course, end of the day, he got pissed off and then he threw the toys out of the tram and whatnot, and then he got sacked and whatnot. Right. So all of those things accumulates and stuff. Then Ole came into the picture. Oh, everything is good now. And then the players again, like just to repeat what I said earlier, the players under Ole, they were pretty much running on adrenaline, and then without any sense of direction and whatnot. And right up until then, the players that we were signing was not really Ole's decision and whatnot. I would say it actually came from Ed Woodward and the board. Again, commercial values, and then we're trying to save a few £1 million here and there and whatnot. Oh, you got enough players, all right, and then sign players with big names and whatnot. So this time around, right, with a new CEO in the form of Richard Arnold and whatnot, and of course with a proper manager, Erik ten Hag, we are actually expecting that. We really, really hope this time around the owners will actually support the manager this time around, like how Levy is actually supporting Conte in this sense. We are actually hoping for something like that, because what we have right now, we are not talking about just mere 6 players and whatnot. We need 10, 11 players, like what Ralph Rangnick actually mentioned. And that was pretty much what got him kicked out of the consultant role in Manchester United. So yeah.
I mean, I'll allude to what I said earlier, that I think that without genuine leadership in the boardroom, I think United will continue to struggle. Going back to Faisal's point, I'm saying the exact opposite. I wouldn't have recruited CR7. And I would let him go now and get rid of him. I think you were two seriously malign influences within the dressing room of that club. Yeah, exactly. One was Paul Pogba, and the other one, Cristiano Ronaldo. Two players that play for themselves, play for their egos, and don't play for a team. I think United might be a better side, certainly without Pogba, particularly if they can get someone of the quality of De Jong or someone similar. Yes, you'll need someone else to lead the line. But as I say, some of this negative body language I saw from Ronaldo, I just didn't think was healthy. The other thing, and I think this was instructive, was that Manchester United did want to bring Conte in at the beginning of last season, and Ronaldo vetoed it.
Really?
In fact, it was around the time. It was around you've heard that yourself, I presume, Dom. Yeah. That it was around the time that they were thinking of getting rid of Solskjaer. We were thinking of getting rid of the hapless Nuno. United come and beat us 3-0, the best 3-0 defeat in our club's history. We get rid of Nuno, bring in Conte. Solskjaer stays another 3 weeks, by which time Conte's gone. But I gather that one of the reasons Solskjaer didn't go earlier, it's what you hear and what you read, is that Ronaldo said no way to Conte, because he was going to have to work too hard. And that's why I don't think United will be a top 4 side this season either.
Yeah. But what you're saying actually, Dom, right? MU United actually has to go through another rebuild, total rebuild, right? To tell the truth, what you're talking about is what we've experienced all these years. When we got Conte, right? That's when the owners are actually listening to the manager and following what the manager wants. All these times that you're saying that the manager, right, has to listen to what the owners want for commercial value, to make a profit off the players and all that. And that's when your team declines, right? That's why you said that once you get a manager who's stronger than the owner, right, and has the owner to understand that this is what is needed, right? And to tell the truth, when Manchester United fans protest, right, and it really gets nasty, you can actually see it. But for Spurs, right, when we protest, right, it's like 3 people standing out of the stadium. That's that part. But what hit Conte was actually during the what hit Levy was actually during the MU match that we lost at home 3-0. And when the fans started to chant, I think that really hit him hard. And he had to make the choice that, if I continue with Nuno, most probably the stadium will get burned down tomorrow, right? But he brought in Conte, and now we are at this stage now. We're being a Spurs fan, we've not seen this kind of transfer window in actually our whole lifetime, right? Which is getting players in early, vetting them early, and getting them actually ready for the Premier League before the ball is even kicked, right? But for you guys, I guess it's going to take another 2 years to 3 years before you actually get into sync, and hopefully that Ten Hag, right, can actually drill something to the owners to tell them that if you want the football, this has to be done, right? We have to get rid of what you must get what I want for the plan. If not, there's no plan. That's how I see it for Manchester United at the moment, right? But what Faisal says, right, he agrees on that point, right? Right. But what you're saying, like with Cristiano Ronaldo, now we've come to the stage that he wants to play Champions League. That is the story out there now, right? It's always a story, because we are not getting it directly from Ronaldo's mouth that says that I want to play Champions League and I don't want to be in Manchester United, because you'll never hear that from him, because that'll be the end of it, right? But at the moment now, while you guys are going through this, we are going through another process of doing things. So let's see where we meet. How are we going to meet up at the end of the day in all this, as I see it, right? And actually, I wanted to ask Nippon a question, but he's not around. Nippon, are you still there?
Yeah. Hope I haven't frightened him off, Eugene.
No, I think he's got something to do, right? But like I've been saying, being a football fan, there's a lot of weird things been happening this season. Somehow or another, ever since Conte has come to Spurs, he has got this philosophy that says that I need my players before preseason so I can get them in and I can put them through the training and the physical, the fitness and the whole shebang thing, right? That I know my players and for the players to get into tune. And somehow or another, the preseasons turn out to be very important. Have you not noticed? We have not seen preseasons, right, being showed on television so much apart from this starting of this season. You know, preseasons was always just been left behind. Okay, let them do what they want. Maybe one or two matches from, Liverpool, the big game like Liverpool and Manchester United is a big game, right? So we show it live, especially for us in Asia. We don't get that, right, Dom? But
Yeah.
somehow or another, this preseason, right, we are getting nearly every preseason match that the top four, top six teams are playing. And that's such a weird thing. But maybe because of all the hype that has been gone into the preseason, that has brought us. But of course, we don't talk about, Spurs going to Korea. There are more South Korean Spurs fans, right, add together in the whole of UK at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. There's about 12 million of them, right? But of course, you count. But of course, like you said, the top four, the big six teams, right? They actually acknowledge that their biggest market is actually Asia. Right? Why do you think Manchester United and Liverpool went to Bangkok to play that game? Because that is actually all spinning revenue, you know. And now, especially let's say Spurs go to Korea, all of a sudden you're saying we found out we got 12 million Spurs fans in Korea, and there's about 51 million population of Korea. You're talking about 25% of 20 over percent of the Koreans are Spurs fans, right? And that's a scary amount, right? But of course, that is just one country. Right? But of course, if you say that Manchester United come to Malaysia, right, you will find the amount of Manchester United fans in Malaysia, it's like 10-1 against Spurs fans. And I see it, right? Liverpool is the same thing, maybe now Manchester City is the same thing. So it's all about the commercial value that when the teams come over to Asia, it's all about commercial value. But of course, like for this season, this preseason that's gone on, it's more than commercial value because at the moment we are already judging our players during preseason. Like remember when in the early stages we were talking with Ian and Brian, we were saying, oh, the game against the K League team, the K League team was like, it's like more like a friendly. The score was 6-3. Come on, that's a friendly score, right? But when we turn up to play against Sevilla, that was an utterly, I saw it more like a Champions League game. The players were going in hard at each other. And of course, there was a lot of rustiness between two teams, the fitness levels and all that and things. But of course, I've not watched the games that Manchester United has played. Like somehow or another, remember you after the Crystal Palace game yesterday, you were doing your live stream with your panel, Dom, right? That's how I put in a message, right? But you guys were so excited that you beat Crystal Palace. You guys, you guys were saying,
no, you got it wrong.
no, let me finish. Because you guys were saying that you saw that the team is gelling together. There's an understanding. That brings up the hope of the fans. You get what I'm saying, right? To see that okay, there's at least something that we see that we don't see, right? Now, but of course, like we said, nowadays it's a preseason game, right? But it also gives you a barometer to see where your players are at the moment and how much understanding, right, that the players have that what your manager wants, they are doing. So if you beat the team, perform well, like you say, you beat Liverpool in Bangkok, and then you beat Crystal Palace, and you guys have been beating most of the teams that you play in preseason, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, but the most important thing is not about the scoreline. The most important thing is about the understanding, the fitness, right? And the facial expression of the coach. You guys were saying that Ten Hag was actually throwing verbal abuse at the players during that game, but it was just friendly. But that shows that the passion that he has, right? Like for us, when we were playing against the K League team, right, in Korea, whenever the camera panned onto Conte, we could see Conte's facial expression. He wasn't smiling, he was in deep thought. He was like thinking, okay, I see this, I see that, but that is what we are looking at now, right? Improve and to bring our team to the next level. That's how I see it. But of course, along the way, we have to add players in, right? My biggest fear now is like you guys have gotten rid of Pogba. You need someone to replace him. That's why you guys are chasing after FDJ, all right? And of course, poor Harry Maguire, to say that, right? He's been more or less been put as the scapegoat, right? That's why now we brought in Martinez, right, to more or less be his cover, or maybe be his replacement. But Ten Hag has come out and said that, all right, Maguire is still the captain, right? Still the captain at the moment, right? So in the end of the day, the window hasn't closed, but of course we have already brought in six, but we brought in six early, right? So we must get this six, right, to integrate to see whether they're going to be first team players or not, or part of the squad. A lot of people are saying about Eric Dyer in our back three, right? He like, to a certain level that we have, and of course a lot of people in the chats were saying that our Spurs fans say that Eric Dyer, to come to tell you the truth, Dom, 1 year ago, right, before this season, before Conte came in, right? When who was in charge before Nuno? Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Yeah. When Mourinho was in charge, right? All of us wanted Dyer out, right? All of us hated Davis. The sad thing is that of course we saw him play football. He can't kick the ball 5 yards ahead of him, right? Dyer couldn't hit the ball 3 yards away from him, So there were a lot of weaknesses. But of course, when Conte came, everything changed. A lot of improvements were brought in. So now, more or less, if we bring in the quality players, hopefully that they will become part of the squad. Like you said, even if Nippon is not here now, right? Nippon was saying earlier, Ankit was saying Chelsea not having depth in their squad, right? So the only two teams in the Premier League now that actually has depth in their squad is actually MCT and Liverpool, right? But of course, with MCT getting rid of Sterling, and now maybe Zinchenko is going, right? They brought in Haaland, they brought in another guy called Alvarez, right? Well, as I see it now, is Liverpool actually going, Liverpool and Chelsea, will they be going through a transitional period? Will that actually affect their form along the way, right? Manchester United, Dom, you're saying you're going through a rebuild, okay? Spurs is going through an upgrade. We need to upgrade a lot of things to build our depth, right? Chelsea, more or less, is also, like you said, an upgrade, or maybe they are going through a semi-transition because they've lost completely the back line, right? And of course, I've even asked Nippon and Ankit about how. Hi, Nippon, you're back. Yeah, I've even asked Nippon, right? How do you feel about Kante now? Do you guys still want Kante, or are you looking for a replacement? You're saying that Kante, right? Why don't you get rid of Kante, sell Kante to whoever who wants him, right, and bring in FDJ? That could be another solution for you guys too. But when you come to that, then you'll be talking about Manchester United and Chelsea fighting for one player again, right? But of course, before that, right, Nippon, I want to ask you this question: since you've gotten rid of Lukaku, right, you guys do need another striker, don't you? Because Sterling is not going to be Lukaku's replacement.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So, what targets are you looking at?
Look, we were obviously targeting Cristiano, but obviously the manager didn't want him, and ever since then, I honestly think Tuchel doesn't want an out-and-out striker. I think he just wants a false nine, like how Liverpool used to play Bobby Firmino. Like he's an attacking mid, but Klopp played him at centre forward. Same way, I think Tuchel will do the same with Kai Havertz.
That's true. That's true. But of course, coming back to it, Dom, if you guys, let's say Ronaldo leaves, right, that will leave a big gap in your front three, in the front line, right? Who do you think you will bring in to fill in that front line? Because there are not many strikers out there for you to pick up on now, without paying obscene amounts of money. But I've heard that you guys are interested in Ivan Toney.
No, I think that is pretty much a rumor. Like, we wouldn't pay, I think, like what, 45 mil or 50 mil was it? I think that's the price that they actually put on his head. But the players that I think within the loop they are saying they're talking about is actually Anthony from Ajax, which is funny because initially, right, one of the reasons we want to sign Anthony is to fill up our our right wing position, which has been like that. There's no particular person who actually came and actually took the position and owned it in Manchester United. Okay, we have tried like putting Rashford there, and even last time Sanchez there and whatnot. No one could actually own it, right? Could actually do a proper cross in and whatnot. So actually, the idea was to sign Anthony, and then on top of that, to actually supply, crosses in, opportunities for Ronaldo to finish. Okay, so right now, the way that from the rumors and whatnot they're spinning it is, if Ronaldo leaves, then we will use the money that we actually save from his wage and whatnot for Anthony, to sign Anthony. So right now, probably is that is the player that we are linked with. I mean, more realistic player that we are linked with. Because like usual Manchester United, we are linked with like 100 over players. I think like up to this point, there's already 100 players linked with Manchester United, and most of the time they are just using us, as a leverage and whatnot to get a new contract, or to get a deal, or to the club that they want to go to and whatnot. So that's the thing with Manchester United right now. It's frustrating, lah. And then another thing, just to add on, like right now, right, what as a fan, what I'm worried about right now, it's the appointment of Eric Ten Hag. Just to maybe Glazers made a deal with him saying that, okay, you come into the club, you utilize whatever you have and you make them into world-class players and whatnot. And on top of that, we'll just subsidize with maybe 2-3 more players and whatnot. So it seems like it's going that way, that direction right now. So United fans that knows the way that Glazer run things and whatnot. So this is what we think it's happening like in the background.
All right. Oops, I don't know what happened to Ian. I mean, he'll be back later. But we're coming close to the end of the show, right? Because on my midweek shows, we don't do more than that, more than 1.5 hours, but usually more closer. But let's see. Dom, if you can just give me your YouTube channel on the private chat, maybe I can just put it out for later. People can more or less subscribe to the channel, right? And Dom, any shows coming up before? How you say? Any new shows coming up? Recent?
We'll be actually doing a live watch along this Saturday for the Manchester United Aston Villa. Let me get the link for you first.
Right. And of course, down there under my Persuasion link, there will be NS Sports, right?
NS Sports TV, yeah.
NS Sports TV. Right. Then later I'll put the link up for Jom United and anybody's watching later, right? And before we do our closings, and of course, Tom says that most probably they're doing a live watch along, right? For which game you're going for?
For the Manchester United Aston Villa, we are doing it in a studio environment. It's something new for us. It's a next milestone for us. And then
you're doing a studio environment. Okay.
Yeah.
Where? Which studio?
It's undisclosed. It's disclosed at the moment because we are setting up at the moment. We might change it to another venue and whatnot, but then we are just setting up. So this will be, it's a preseason game.
It's somewhere in KL.
Yeah, it's in somewhere in KL.
Somewhere in KL. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, the links are up. All right, guys, before we end the show, usually I just say a big shout out to the guys in the chats. Of course, Faisal's a big supporter of Jom United. He's given a lot of comments towards Dom, and of course, Ian's answered a few of them. A big up to Reload XXXXX, John Moore, right? Scott M, big up to Scott M too. Chris Agamba, Bob Spur, right? And of course, Ankit was around with us just now, and the Bobby K, hopefully he's working. Right, of course, THFC Caveman, right? Who else do we have? Aaron, and of course we have Jamie. Jamie is usually my co-host, but today he's working. Yeah, did John Moore earlier? Yes, and of course Des Reynolds, right? Who else do we have in the chats? Have I got through all the guests? Big up to them. Of course, Statman, Stubb Stevens, too. Of course, Nippon, Ryan Henry. Big up to you guys. Thanks for support. Amzo, right? And I think I've gone through most of it. And guys, thanks for being on the show today. And of course, right? And Ian, anything you want to say? Any last words?
No, I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday afternoon at Ibrox. I think I'm going to be doing a couple of shows next week because people are going to want to talk about that game. I think, as Brian said, we're very much into the serious business now of putting the final starting 11 together. So I'm looking forward to the next week now and starting to look forward to the season. I think it's an exciting time for Spurs supporters. I think a little bit of transition at Chelsea and probably still transition at Man United. Manchester City look like they've done really well. Perhaps Liverpool need a slight rebuild. So I think we're all very excited about what Tottenham could achieve this season. Will achieve is maybe a different matter.
And Dom, any last words?
So as a United fan, we are not going to ask much for this season. What we want is to see a philosophy, a style of play. And then we want to see the players, the current players that we have, and whichever players that end up signing for Manchester United to give their all for us. And then eventually, maybe over the next period of 1-2 years, hopefully we can challenge for something.
And Nippon?
Just subscribe to my channel, Sports TV. I'm on the road to 1K. I'm hoping to get there by the end of next month.
All right, that's good. And guys, all of you, please subscribe to Spurs Vision TV too. Not to forget that, right? Much to like, and of course to NS Sports and of course to Jom United. Thanks you guys for being on the show. I'll catch up with you guys in the back room, right? Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.